Hello, it's Nikki. How are you doing? How's things? Welcome back to a brand new day. Today I want to talk about the power of containers. This is coming up for my clients so much at the moment because it's a really busy time of year. I'm recording this in July, in the summer. Children are about to break up. People are going on their holidays. People want some downtime. And quite often at this time, there is a halfway through the year kind of reflection moment. But then also there's a sense of, well, maybe now is not the perfect time. Maybe now I will wait until September. And I know that temptation because I've done it. And I have an interesting relationship with habits. And even though I've been a coach for over 10 years, it's definitely been something that I've needed to work at because the way that people talk about habits, the experts, there is often a sense that you just decide and then the rest reveals itself. And it's easy breezy, it's lovely jubbly. And I have not found that to be the case, especially when I've been moving out of my comfort zone, especially when I've been tired or had resistance, let's say, to the new situation. And the truth for me is when I've been building a habit and when I've been making significant change, I've had to make it work on my terms because the story in society is that you make the decision and you make your bed and you lie in it and that's your life choice. It's very black and white. There's very often not a blurry ground in there. And I know some people, for example, have to be in that situation. For example, sobriety. Some people are like, I just can't have one drink. I am completely sober and that suits my life, my family, my personality, etc. But for most of us, I think in lots of areas, we are looking for habits that we can weave into our life to improve it, to make it better, to make it more joyful, richer, whatever it might be. Now, that old story of the habits really got into my brain, and the part of my personality that is motivated, proactive, wants to do the right thing, is a bit of a pleaser, would always pick up on those signs and put that pressure on of saying, right, well, if I'm going to do this habit, I've got to go all in and I've got to do it and I've got to do it 100% perfectly. And for me, realizing, maybe since having children as well, that it's very rare that I can do something perfectly. And I was even thinking about this the other day. What do I manage to do on a daily basis? Love my kids, hug my kids. I'm there pretty much every single day. At least there's never been a day where I've never had any contact with them, for example. I always brush my teeth at least twice a day. I always shower. I always eat breakfast. I try and drink water a lot, but hug my partner, all of these sorts of things. But there's very few habits that I can stick to 100% of the time. So here's where I want to introduce the power of a container. And this is going to be perfect for you at this time of year. If what you want to build or create or have or call in or manifest or whatever it might be, it needs to have a bit of wiggle room at the moment. So this sense, and I've got my notes. The first thing I want to talk about is there is a lot of power in deciding something. In saying enough is enough, I need to find a way to give this a go. Or today is the day where I'm going to really look at this. And that's not to say that it will all be smooth sailing from now, but I think many of us have had those moments in our lives or our business or in our families where we go, this is not working, or I feel like I need a bit more of X. And we get to a point where we can't continue in the way that we've been continuing. So having that decision point is really, really key, because it gives you a day one. It gives you a lovely date that you can write in your journal, in your diary, where you say, that's when I did that thing right then. That's when I begun this journey. And within that, it also gives you a sense of focus that this is important to you. Once again, when we're pulled in all different directions, we can let ourselves bum slide down the priority list. And another week, another month, another year goes by, and we forget that this thing was important to us. So saying, today is the day where I'm going to embark on this. Today is the day when I am going to give this habit or this something that I want to bring in focus. That is incredibly powerful. Number 2, once we've decided, it's really important that you set the metrics for it and what it means. So what your version of success is when it comes to this goal within this container, and to make it achievable. So when I first went back to yoga, I said, I'm going to go for the next 6 months. And because I knew how much it was costing me every single month, I wanted to go significantly. So I had a number in my head, and because I divided what it would cost for 6 months, divided by the number of classes, and that price per class felt good to me. It felt acceptable. So that was my commitment. I didn't say I was going to go every day, even though I could go every day because it's round the corner and there are classes every day. And I don't know if that would work with childcare, but the potential is there. But if I thought to myself, if I have to go every single day for the next 6 months in order for this to be a success, I wouldn't do it. Because I knew already, as I was looking at the schedule and forecasting the next 6 months, there would be days that I wouldn't be able to go. So when you're looking at this container, it's really important that you define what that version of success is. Because if it's too much, you're not going to do it. And if it's too woolly, you're not going to be sure if you're doing it or not. So that's really important. Number 3, when you're embarking on a new habit, you've created the container, you've set your day one, and you say that you are going to do this thing. It's really important, wherever you can, that you set yourself up for success. I know myself, I am a human being, and I am tempted by things, or I'm easily distracted. Another thing that I've been working on probably since the early part of the year is, and it does sound like I've been working on it, but I've been working on my relationship with sugar. Because I have noticed, as a 41-year-old woman and as somebody who is addicted to sugar, it's my only real vice, really, I would say, I had become reliant on sugar. And the difficulty with sugar and I is the more I have, the more I want. You'd think that I'd have a bit and I'd be satisfied and be like, yeah, I'm good with that. No, if I had a taste, I'd be seeking it out. I'd be thinking about when I would have it again. I'd be thinking about what I would have again. And it became a treat. It became a crux, I guess. It became something that I looked forward to. Now, my measure of success is that I don't want to lose sugar completely from my life. That is, I guess, my commitment to myself. However, I want to feel really good in my clothes. I want to have good energy. I want to have a healthy gut, and all of these sorts of reasons. And I don't want to become reliant on it for constantly, sparking a bit of action and then crashing. And so when I was looking at this, I was looking at ways I could set myself up for success. And one of the things was to not buy it. not buy it. And then, of course, Easter comes and then your fridge is full of it. But for the most part, I just didn't go down that aisle in the supermarket. And I made a commitment to myself that I could have it. I absolutely could. But for most of the time, I wouldn't have it. Now, I would like to say, like, oh, it made me drop 2 stone immediately. It didn't. Unfortunately, it didn't. But it has made me feel better. And I do feel like over the last 5 months, I've formed a different relationship with it, a more healthy relationship. Thank you for coming to my therapy session. Okay, number 4. This does not have to be for the rest of your life. So if you're working on a container, or it could be, you have to make it fun. And so instead of saying, oh my gosh, people do it in dry January, don't they? Oh, it's day 10 of dry January. This is awful. You have to look at the flip side of what you're gaining from this new habit. So if it was dry January, or let's use a more example, a tangible example that I've used with the sugar thing, for example. I had to get creative with other things that I was going to eat in the afternoon because what time is it? 25 to 4. It is that time where I'm like, yep, I'm hungry. What am I going to eat? What's going on? And that's when I want sugar. Absolutely. And I know that if I have it at this time, I'm actually better having sugar 9 o'clock in the morning. I know it will affect my sleep. I know it will give me a bit of a sugar hangover in the morning. Yeah, that's right. I am that sensitive. But instead, I took the challenge on and thought, right, how can I make this fun? How can I enjoy going to the supermarket and not looking at sugar, but looking at different things? So I began to look at different recipe books or online or whatever it might be. I think wherever you can, you need to look for that joy, that lightness, that brightness, that possibility of it feeling good. And number 5, if you start today and by tomorrow or the day after, you fall off the train. You're like, oh no, oh, I messed up. Oh, I was supposed to be doing this thing and then I ran out of time, or I didn't do it, or I forgot to put it in my diary, or something came up. All of these things. It's okay. It's all okay. And here's why. Even if your container is 1 or 2 days, you will have accumulated so much data, not only about the habit, but about you and your response and your relationship with it. And so if I was going back to sugar, if 3 hours later, I've got a dairy milk out the fridge that I'm enjoying, and I've already planned to have a cupcake later, that's when I know, okay, this is going to need a bit more work or focus or time or attention or all of the above. And I think sometimes people worry about failure because that feeling that you haven't done what you were supposed to do, or you've done what you set out to do, can feel a bit disheartening. But all you need to do is look at the amazing data that you've got from it. You might say, oh, okay, I need to be a bit more prepared for that because that's where I wobbled. That's where it got me. Or, oh gosh, I did say that I was going to go to the gym. I need to put my clothes out, or I need to put my clothes on straight away. So I drop the kids and then I go, whatever it is, it will always give you data. So don't see, and I know it's not the ideal, of course, don't see the failure as a failure or the fact that it didn't happen as some big failure. See it as a big folder of evidence, a big folder of information of where you go next. And one of the things that can happen sometimes, like with the sugar, I thought to myself, oh, I didn't realize how addicted I was to the sugar, how it really plays into my everyday. Oh, that's interesting. So I got so much information. If you want to make some moves, The best place to look is the goal setting room. That's a freebie section on my website. It's just nickyraby.com/goal setting room, or just go to the goal setting area, which is nickyraby.com/goal setting. And there are a number of ways that I can help you in this area. If you're ready to make some moves, and again, remember, you get to set the metric. This is not about my metrics. This is not about you having to become, if you've never run before, thinking, oh gosh, I've now got to run like I'm training for the Olympics. No, you get to move the metric. You get to work the part of the spectrum that you want to. Go over to that page, nickyraby.com/goal setting. I've got a new website that you can check out. And also, this is the really exciting thing. On the messenger, there's a little icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can just message me and you can let me know what you're going to do, what you're plotting, what your ideas are. So yeah, I would love to hear how you get on with that as well. Thanks so much for watching, for listening, and I will leave the links down below, and I'll see you very soon.